First of all, I want to thank Debbie Rivera. Very kind of her. She made this mask for me, so I proudly wear it. I appreciate all the masks that have been made for me, and just want to say a big, big thank you on that. And I'm going to take it off now so you can hear what I'm saying. You can see a lot of work has been done on this overall phased-in reopening, which is this phase one, and you can see the booklet. All this is going to be online, and I'll speak more specifically with it. All my cabinet heads are here, and some department heads here will take questions if there's any questions at the end of the presentation. So, first of all, I want to thank the residents and business community for their continued patience, understanding, and efforts to defeat this COVID-19 coronavirus. Believe you me, and you could speak to any one of my cabinet heads and department heads, my direct staff and rank and file, it was very challenging to shut down, but it's much more difficult to reopen. We've had many continued sleepless nights, and so I really want to say to all my cabinet heads and rank and file down, thank you, a big thank you, and to my staff, tested and true. So thank you very much for that. We're following Governor Baker and Lieutenant Governor Polito's phased reopening approaches. They have done a very good job. Again, this is subject to change. We are basing our phased-in reopening aspects on public health, medical, science, and balancing business needs and reopening our economy. The best practices we have as we move to a new normalcy until a vaccine is found. The key word here is confidence, and we must base our decisions establishing public, business, and consumer confidence. Any step forward that we take must be done and will be done smartly in order not to take 2 steps back, which would be completely demoralizing. We have done well to preserve and protect our workforce, and we want to continue to do the same for you and your families and our economy. There is light at the end of the tunnel, and on a lighter note, in the meantime, we can all get a haircut, including me too. So I want to give some special thanks out before I get into some specifics. Got to give a shout out to our National Guard, General Keefe, who I spoke to yesterday. Great guy. To all the brave and dedicated women of the National Guard, I want to thank. They're going to continue to stay on with us to help out Helen Carlton Harris and our medical triage, multiple tents that we have there. So General Keefe and National Guard, thank you. Doing a great job, and thanks for hanging in there with me in the city of Springfield as we move into June. I want to give a big shout out to a friend, Sheriff Nick Kochi, come through big time. They've made us 3,000 masks for our city employees, which we deeply appreciate. That's good on the budget because the price is right, $0, and we appreciate that. I also, it's Memorial Day, and there's many number of veterans who are in this room. I know we're living in a surreal time with the pandemic, but we're always going to remember and never forget our veterans. We will do a ceremony tomorrow at 12 noon as we normally do. City Hall steps. Congressman Neal will be a special guest with Tom Belton, and Director of Veterans, and Joey DeCaro, Deputy Director, and a few of the veterans. We will do a few words, proclamation, and we will do our march. We will stream this live, I believe, or virtually. We're going to try to stream this so the public can see it. But we will do our march with the wreaths to all the monuments from Court Square, Main Street, all the way to Veterans Way, which Pat Sullivan and his team do a great job. So I want everybody in their own way to remember those veterans who made the ultimate sacrifice. It's because of their efforts and their families' efforts that we're able to lead the lives we lead, whether good or bad. Last thing I'll say before I get into more specifics, we are, and again, to the business community and the public out there, you've been fantastic. Anytime I've made a plea for PPEs for my city, especially my frontline, police, fire, and frontline providers, we are in desperate need of thermal infrared thermometers. So please, we've made orders, we've made requests, and we're still waiting to get them in. But thermal infrared thermometers, if you can get me them yesterday, I will be forever grateful. So thank you on that. For phase one, for the first 2 weeks, this is phase one, municipal buildings that will reopen Wednesday, May 27th, by appointment only. Residents, you can, and other business community, you can start calling in Tuesday. Our City Hall Annex, which is where the housing department is, the old courthouse on East Columbus Ave. DPW Echo Dev building retirement at the Tapley Street site. TJO, Thomas J. O'Connor. Unfortunately, with this phase, there are no walk-ins. I mean, I look very forward to seeing each and every one of you very shortly, but there's no walk-ins for the first phase, permitted in phase one via appointment. All the specific contact information has or will be posted on our website, www.springfield-mass.gov, or 413-736-311, or 311. And I really want to give a big thank you. You can see all the information that's been compiled, and state information is also in here, to my communications director, Billy Baker, and Molly Shea from my staff, my chief of staff, Tommy Ash, Eddie Pakula, who puts efforts into this, and Pat Sullivan and his whole team, who now you'll see all the physical plan changes we have made to City Hall and municipal buildings. Again, this is subject to change as we move to defeat this COVID-19 coronavirus. Appointments must be made at least 24 hours in advance, and this depends on our call volume. Emergency issues, as we have been doing, will be considered. Proper telephone numbers to departments, 311, email, online aspects are specified for direct contacts for all appointments. So you'll have a myriad of ways to make those appointments. Also of note, your contact, and this is for Helen Carlton here, actually it's for all of us. Your contact information not only is vital for us being respectful to you and your time, but necessary for contact tracing purposes in order to protect you and your families and in order to continue to protect our workforce. There will be a main check-in entrance area for each city building that will have all appointment information there and will be relayed to said departments for your visit. At all these main check-in entrances, as with all my city employees, including myself, your temperature will be checked. If you temp out at 100.4, unfortunately, I can't let you in. We can't let you in. You will not be allowed entrance. Also, same thing with my city employees and myself. You must wear the appropriate face covering and/or masks unless documented by health or medical issue for whatever reason that you can't wear one. And again, children 2 years and under, that's so we're not going to push that. There will be limited entrance and exits. I think the TV media and the radio media and the print media have already seen, if you come in, that directional stuff, the physical plan has changed. So the physical plan and the flow of pedestrian traffic patterns have changed in all city buildings. From exterior tenting, which you see in the back here, marked and posted one-way arrows, safe standing zones, stairway, hallway, elevator instructions. Now with the elevator, only one person. Two could go on if you're from the same household. Hand sanitizer, and again, Pat Sullivan and his team have done a tremendous job. Hand sanitizer standing post stations at certain strategic areas of all buildings. Plexiglass is going up in office areas. You're going to see face masks, you're going to see plastic gloves, you're going to see plastic face shields, and will be evident along the way, with also social distancing with our city offices. Here are some specifics. City Hall and City Hall Annex, which is the housing department. Check-in entrance will be at the rear of City Hall, handicap accessible door by the tenting and by the benches if you have to sit down. So you're doing any business, if you have to go to our housing department on East Columbus Avenue, the old City Hall Annex Courthouse, first check-in is here in the rear of City Hall, and all the information will be there, which will be relayed to the appropriate department that you're coming. Retirement at DPW Tapley Street, speaking with Susanna, via appointment, and that you'll have all that contact information. TJO, Thomas J. O'Connor, via appointment, no walk-ins, inspections do continue, and Helen indicates if there's emergency situations, that is looked into too, so that you'll have that information. City clerks, and our city clerk, attorney clerk, Tashina Davis is here, and treasurer Steve Lonergan is here. Via appointment for right now, via appointment, and we have to temporarily, this is just temporarily, the Thursday evening 6 o'clock hours will be temporary suspended for phase one, just temporary. So via appointment, and you call in, you'll have the proper contact. Parks, Pat Sullivan, the Wizard of Oz, via appointment, but we do have picnic tables out there. They're properly spaced, 10 feet apart. No parties, only for immediate household members. Food concession will be open at Forest Park. Bathrooms, we're looking to reopen ASAP with bath attendants. You have to have a bath attendant now. Tennis courts will open with restrictions. The farmers market will reopen with restrictions, and of course, patrons' children are more than welcome. There will be heightened, or Memorial Day weekend, we already have heightened patrols, but there will be heightened patrols in the park, especially Forest Park, with Commissioner Cheryl Clapper, the police department, bike patrols, other patrols, and with Sheriff Cochee, Nick Cochee's patrols. So they're going to be out there. So have fun, follow the public health and social distancing, and do the right thing, because there'll be eyes on you. North Riverfront Park, we're very proud of what we've been able to accomplish there. The regatta area, a tremendous asset to the city. Kayaking, again, this is with restrictions, one person will be able to be done. Golf courses. Pat Sullivan is in the midst of putting golf now. It's an online reservations. That's to be announced very, very shortly. Bathrooms are going to be reopened ASAP as soon as we get our bath attendants. And this is out of respect and to cater also to our female golfers, Food concession will open up at the golf courses. Take out only. The zoo at Forest Park, which is not directly our zoo, but they work with us, will reopen. We're awaiting their plans for review. Playgrounds, splash pads, pools, summer programs are still closed. still closed. They'll be considered and reviewed for Phase 2 and Phase 3 aspects to be determined. We are going to work with Commissioner Helen Colton Harris, Pat Sullivan, and we're going to work with Bay State, Dr. Kerouac and Dr. Arnstein on best practices dealing with the waterway areas, what is safe. There's a lot of thought process that goes into it. I don't think people realize with lifeguards, bathrooms, interaction, but we're trying as best we can to bring some relief to our children and to families. So again, playgrounds, splash pads, pools, summer programs still closed to be considered Phase 2, Phase 3 if public health requirements are met and it is safe and sound. Springfield Police Department with Commissioner Cheryl Clapprood. Lobby aspects are open, but again, via appointment. An intercom system will be going in there shortly. Commissioner has heard individuals loud and clear. She's going to do special Tuesday via appointment, 4 to 6 p.m., license to carry. She's going to move ahead on that, so I think those individuals will be very happy with that. Springfield Fire Department, under the great leadership of Commissioner B.J. Calvi, to be announced Phase 2. He's starting to put together his inspectional services, the Phase 2 on that. Schools with Superintendent Dan Ward, who's currently on calls now for me, and with state officials. Schools will remain closed. They will remain closed through the summer. Summer virtual learning, remote aspects will continue. As you know, I think we're one of the few, or first in the Commonwealth, 17,000 laptops were already out to our students. Main central office contact via appointment, you'll have that information, and that will be for central office and contacts that have to be made to all school principals via appointment. Health and Human Services, the elegant and eloquent Commissioner of Health and Human Services, Helen Colton Harris, who's done a yeoman work being my point person. Our beloved veterans, checks will be mailed out to you via appointment, new applications. Our beloved seniors. Senior centers and community centers will remain closed for the first 2 phases. We will continue, Helen, the units have continued their outreach with our seniors for food deliveries and masks. We've continued to do that. Libraries, as they ramp up, libraries will reopen for curbside pickup via appointment June 8th. June 8th. They're ramping up, putting that together. So June 8th, libraries will reopen with curbside pickup. Again, this is all subject to change. If hopefully things go better, it's subject to change. Helen has also put together the COVID-19 coronavirus hotline, which is 413, again, 413-750-3250. 3250, this is 24/7. We have that going. So at this point in time, I would open it up to any and all questions, especially of my cabinet heads and some specific department heads that are here. Again, we want to get reopened as soon as possible, and that goes for our business community too, and get our economy going, but we want to do it in a safe and a smart way and build that public and business and consumer confidence. So that's where we're at. This is subject to change. All this information, very thorough, is all on our website, or you can call 311 or 736-3111, how to contact specific departments. So little by little, there is light at the end of the tunnel. We are getting there, and we're going to move forward. We're going to move forward on that. So I don't know if there's any questions or comments from my cabinet heads or myself. Yes, Paul? Sure. Yep.
Since Memorial Day weekend obviously is coming out, the weather forecast is supposed to be very nice all 3 days. What's parking, is there any plan there?
We will have additional staff on for the parks. We will continue to monitor the parks, and if we should get too many people coming to the park, we would certainly have actions in place to close the entrance until we have people leaving the park. That hasn't happened yet to date, but we do have measures in place to address that issue.
When you're opening up to more activity now than you had in the past, and before it was basically people could come in and walk and jog and whatever, but now you're saying people can come in and sit and eat.
Right, so the areas, basically what we're adding is people have been picnicking over the last 2 weeks. Really the only addition right now for this weekend will be the tennis courts opening, and they have sufficient parking at those locations, so we're not anticipating. But we have extra patrols on in the park, and we will be monitoring the visitations closely to keep everyone safe.
And the zoo is not open yet.
The zoo has not opened yet. That will not open until we have the sufficient bath attendants on duty.
And the playgrounds,
Playgrounds are still closed at this time.
so what's your advice for people that might go this weekend?
Just keep following the same guidelines in the past. Safe social distance. If you're in areas where you are beyond your immediate family and are conversing with people not within your family, you should be wearing a mask. And just keep following those guidelines, and we can all enjoy these recreational resources if we continue to follow those guidelines.
And looking ahead at the summer program, what's the status of?
We are reviewing that as we speak, and I think in the next week or two we should have some more guidance on that issue.
Question here, next week, offices can be open.
Yeah.
In the state. Governor said yesterday that the 25% occupancy is a cap set on the state, but that municipalities can go lower than that if they want it.
Yeah.
So what's Springfield's position on that? Are you going to go with 25% or do you want to see?
25%. Listen, got to get our economy going. Got to get it going. And I think we've been following that on health guidelines and medical and science, but we got to get things going. And I think we've worked very closely with Dr. Kerouac, the president and CEO of Bay State Health Systems, and Dr. Robert Roos, the chief medical officer of Mercy Trinity Health Systems, that, knock on wood, I hope I'm wrong, but if there is any type of spike, we can handle that. And Helen is, was one of the first in the state to start pursuing the contact tracing. We're working with the state collaborative now, so we got to move forward. Tim Sheehan, we're already working with restaurants and businesses already, and we're formulating a plan because they're going to be ready to go. I think when Lieutenant Governor called me early Saturday morning, they said they were going to be putting together a ombudsman, he or she. So, Helen, we're not looking to, hammer anybody. We're looking first to, as we have been doing, are you following all the proper things? Go out and educate and get warned if you have to. If not, then we're not afraid to pursue it. But that would be the first layer with the state, and then we would follow our layers going forward. But we have to start getting things going, and we're being very cautiously optimistic. But I know there's other cities and towns, and some that are not looking to open up until June. I've heard some that might not open up till September. But we got to get things going, and we've been very good about preserving and protecting our workforce. We had some ebbs and flows, and I want to continue to do that, and I want to make sure visitors that come here that they're protected too.
I think you answered this already, but the city's approach to enforcing these new workplace safety standards is going to be education first before you worry about
Right.
people.
We have found, I think Commissioner Clapwood can elaborate if need be, and I think Commissioner Helen Carlton-Harris can elaborate if need be, that when we've had to go to situations, I could probably count on one hand where we really had to, or City Solicitor Pakula, if we had to really pick it up. Usually after we sent the message of visits were made, or continued visits were made, the proper restrictions are being followed. Now, we can't be everywhere all the time on it, but this is this has really become a balancing act here. And I got to say one other thing. I mentioned Commissioner Clapper. On my radio yesterday, in between meetings, I was doing paperwork. What an arrest the brave and dedicated men and women in blue did. 12 noon. Nobody got hurt. This guy they picked up, a classic repeat violent offender. 5, 7 offenses, out on 2 or 3 guns. What the hell does it take to keep these guys locked up? Wait until you read the thing. What is he even doing out there? He put my officers in harm's way. He put residents and business community in harm's way. They ran him down in the cars. They ran him down on foot. They grabbed that SOB. I just, tremendous. And you can hear those officers huffing and puffing out there and how they coordinated together. Nobody got hurt. Armed. I mean, to the court system. What the hell's it take? This kid's not a poster child for, Girl Scout cookies here or anything like that. Keep him off the streets. Keep him off my streets. Keep him out of my neighborhoods. Jesus Christ. It's absolutely ridiculous. I'm sorry. It really pissed me off. Any other questions or comments?
Mr. Mayor,
Yes,
you
ma'am.
mentioned the library starting a curbside service on
June
June 8th, roughly aligned with the state plan on the libraries could open. Is there some possibility of the libraries physically opening before the end of the summer?
I'm going to bring Helen up. I think we were trying to get something going ASAP, but we want to make sure, obviously you have with the PPEs, the interaction with our community, the social distancing aspect. So that's one thing we want to get open ASAP. So we're already working the other plan, but Helen can speak to that a little more specific. It's a little more difficult with the senior centers and my community centers. A little more difficult. Pat will tell you, we've already been looking at every phase. 1, 2, 3, 4. So we're already planning ahead. And, for my city employees too, through Bill Mahoney and Solicitor Pagula, all the department heads, what they should be prepared for. Again, I'm very proud we've been able to protect and preserve our workforce. We're going to work remotely. We're doing staggered type things, but we're starting to gear up because we have to start to reopen and safe. But let me bring Helen up and she could speak a little more specific on the libraries.
Thank you for the question. In phase 1, the libraries, as the mayor has said, is looking at curbside service. They will, by appointment, ask patrons to call, make an appointment. They will put the books in a plastic bag outside, and the individual resident will be able to pick them up. So in phase 1 for the libraries, there is no entering into the building. That will be the potential for phase 2. Patrons may be able to come into the buildings by appointment for express services. And so that's phase 1, that's phase 2. The libraries will flesh this plan out more, and we'll be able to give you more details in the future.
And just in possible further down the road, we might have less by appointment in libraries as well, or are you not even thinking about that?
Well, there is a phase 3 for the libraries, but we're not ready to express that at this point, but they're certainly thinking about 1 curbside in phase 1, and then by appointment, limited access in phase 2.
Thanks, man. I also want to give a big shout out and thanks to my IT division, though sometimes it can be very trying, and to Focus Springfield, and to his alter ego. Is he here? Where's Solicitor Pagula, the IT man? He loves doing the IT stuff. But they've been great on hosting all these Zoom meetings. And I want to thank also the City Council and President Justin Hurst. They're continuing working with my administration to continue to facilitate meetings. I want to thank the school committee. We're facilitating meetings out of here to make sure business is continued on. And that's important. I know we all look forward to seeing everybody in person, but business, the city business has continued on, and I see, Greg Supernall, the Deputy Director of DPW, man, those guys, and women, they're out there every day, picking up the trash, picking up the recycling, doing the yard waste. This stuff still continues on. And you got to give them a lot of credit. And of course, with police and fire, health inspectors, Timmy with your inspectional services, code is out there, building inspectors are out there. So we've kept things going as best as we can, but we're moving forward. We're starting in phase 1. We want to be cautiously optimistic. This is subject to change, and then, hopefully, maybe in the early part of phase 1, who knows, maybe phase 2, we can start some type of measured interaction, and we look to phase 3, and then, phase 4. But there is a new normalcy that's going to occur until the vaccine is found. So people still need to practice. I know it seems common sense, but wear those masks when you're out and about, for yourself and for others and for your family. Wash those hands constantly. Practice the social distancing as best you can. And if you don't feel good, stay home. Testing is ramped up a bit. Helen and I are happy. We'd like to see even more. I think anybody across the nation wants to see more. It's ramped up. Our contact tracing is ramping up too. We've been very good on staying on top of our very vulnerable homeless population. I think when you look at the statistics, we'll have our Tuesday, again, because of Memorial Day, our regularly scheduled Monday morning press conference will be Tuesday, May 26th. Dr. Kerouac will be here, Dr. Roos. We will be giving updates. We'll also be giving updates on some stats on breakdowns pertaining to deaths, ethnic background. So Helen's been great about that. So that's where we're at. We didn't want to wait any longer. We're moving forward. We're following the guidance of Governor Baker, Lieutenant Governor Polito's group. I think they've done a very, very good job. And I know we can't make everybody happy. There's some groups open everything up, throw caution to the wind. There's other groups stay shut. So we got to find that right balancing act, and I think we have, and we will adjust where we have to. Plain and simple. I have a great team. We meet every morning, and everybody helps everybody out. What do we need? Who needs this? Who needs that? Where do we have to go? Where do we need to get it? But we have to start opening up, doing it smartly. Go ahead.
Just to clarify what you said about the schools, I thought Superintendent Moore said that on Monday that they were making plans for both in-person and remote summer learning hours.
I did. I know, and I get a great relationship with Commissioner Riley. I did, with Dan, because I asked him if it's okay that I could say it, and all the superintendents across the Commonwealth. Here, let me get into the schools now. Schools were not built to be socially distant. Okay, number one. Whether it's a school built in the 1890s, which we've had some, now we're building new schools now. One. As we're doing here in our municipal buildings, temperature checks have to be taken, not only for the students, but for the staff. Where do those temperature checks occur, especially for a student? Does that occur at the bus stop or at the bus? Because you get a kid on the bus, comes all the way to school and says, I'm sorry, you can't come in. That's got to be hashed out. The other thing I think you might see, because we want to get back in person, don't get me wrong, you're going to see, is it going to be staggered? Are you going to have 1 week, a certain group of kids are in, the next week they're home, remote learning because we have the laptop? Teachers, same thing. 1 week a group of teachers are in, another week they're going to be remotely learning. The Pat is they're working now on the physical plant of these buildings. So this is not as just easy as, open up. Is our goal to be open for the fall? That'd be great. But I mean, as far as summer, We're going to continue the virtual and remote learning. We made the proper investments of having laptops some 3-4 years ago, and I sunk in with my CAFO, TJ Plan, another $1 million. So now from K, kindergarten, up, one-on-one. So yeah, he said it was, my cabinet heads were there, we were doing the Zoom meeting. He did, I said, Danny, is it okay to say? He said, it's okay to say. This is the smart, safe way to go. So schools will not be open this summer. You know, we'll have summer sessions, we'll have the virtual learning continue to go on. We're gonna work hard to continue to keep our food programs going. By the end of this thing, we're probably gonna end up serving well over 1 million meals. Tomorrow, DPW, police, Central Tattoo, they'll be out there. I was up there last Friday, the Oasis Food Bank, John, 3,500 families. I mean, what a well-oiled machine with heart. We're going to, you know, continue to do that, the Food Bank of Western Mass. So that's where we're at, and this is all subject to change. We might tweak it here and there. Listen, start with me. Far from perfect. You know, we all make mistakes. We're going to do test runs. Are going to start Tuesday, and that's why we're saying we're going to open up Wednesday. Be patient. You've been great. The residents of the business community have been great. I ask you to be, your understanding and patience is invaluable. The easiest thing for me to do is stay shut down, even though all of us have been working every day here. But it's not the right thing to do right now. We got to get things going. You know, we're taking all the proper precautions. We're prepared if a spike is to occur. So that's the way we're going to move. Any other questions or comments? Yes, or my cabinet heads? Yeah.
Kind of asked a couple weeks ago, I'm just curious if you had any thoughts about Connecticut's reopening, more so from a public health perspective, because obviously the economic disparity is obvious.
Enfield, yeah.
So I don't know if you have any thoughts about the possibility of residents going to Connecticut and coming back to work or anything like that.
Well, that, you know, there's still that 14-day quarantine, but who the hell's how can you enforce it on it? I know Governor Lamont sent, though he doesn't have any really direct control over the casinos, Foxwoods and Mohegan Sun, that, you know, really urged them, hey, go slow here. They're looking to open June 1st. They're looking to go 24/7. You know, that's his bailiwick, not mine. I don't know with Director Sheehan, you know, we want to get, as soon as we're ready to go, we want to get our restaurants open and going. We're going to work with them al fresco. We're already doing that. And then we're going to see what their price point is. I think some, Matt, in Connecticut, though, some didn't open up because it didn't make sense for their price point. You give them a combination of doing al fresco, and can they get a 25% combination inside when it's ready, and being able to sell liquor and wine, now it makes a little bit of sense. But I did notice, whether it was Blueback Square or whatever, or the Enfield Mall, some places there, some businesses didn't open up. You know, some did with the proper social distancing. So yeah, I'm sure there's people matriculating both ways. There's not a lot that we can do directly. We hope that they're going to follow the proper procedures. But here, you know, we want to I want to see those restaurants and small businesses again. Monday, barbers and hairstylists can open up, so maybe finally I can get a little bit of a trim. Though Carolyn told me she was going to do the cornrows for me in the back here. But we want to doing it based on public. First and foremost, we're doing it on public health, medical, and science, and then we put the balance in of our economy.
And just another sort of I know we are still in an essential travel posture, but
Yeah.
And technically speaking, Union Station isn't directly under your separate.
Yeah.
Has there been any discussion about how that operation is going differently because of the situation?
Well, I'll bring up Tim Sheen, but I want to give a shout out to State Representative Angelo Pupolo. I made a request to him On the IT bond bill that went through, it's about over $1 million. You need IT more than ever now with the pandemic. And he was also cybersecurity with Union Station. I want to thank Angie, and I want to thank my local delegation. We've already reached out to Senator Lesser and Senator Welch to keep that going. But I'll have Timmy speak on Union Station, please.
As you probably know, Appleton is the property management entity for Union Station. They have been, throughout the entire virus, providing sanitation, enhanced sanitation of the station consistent with the CDC guidelines. That has actually now translated into a budget impact in terms of the degree of cleaning that's going on at the station, but it certainly is being addressed.
So there hasn't been any change in access, like it's still basically, even though people are discouraged from traveling, obviously, there's no limitation on people being able to go back and forth.
I think
normal or being changed.
there hasn't been to date. I think there might be some guidance with regards to temperature taking going forward. Yep.
When you said there's been some budget aspects, can you elaborate on that a little bit?
Just in terms of the increased costs associated with all that work, in terms of the enhanced sanitation for the bathrooms, hand sanitizer throughout the building, things like that.
So is that going to impact what the city will be asked to subsidize over there?
It's just an increase in the overall property management budget because they've had to have this enhanced service.
Any other questions or comments? Yeah, sure, go ahead. No, and cabinet heads and specific department heads are here too.
Earlier today, the city council had a meeting to discuss the census.
Yeah.
There seemed to be some thought that expressed that perhaps the city should be putting some money into attempting to promote people.
Yeah, we will be, and we have been. Again, I speaking with Secretary Bill Galvin a couple of times, came across with $50,000. Thank the council, we put that grant through the other meeting or a meeting ago. So we have a strategy working with Gladys Iola. My election commissioner's done a great job. And then Secretary Wilbur Ross. I mean, that was really unique experience. It was really a personal phone call with my Chief of Staff, Tom Ash, a couple of his people, and Gladys Iola. And I think we're going to be doing something with a federal-based New York census on all these things that we're looking to do. Specific, you have the SHA with Denise Jordan. Once this starts loosening up the pandemic, the outreach occurring with our usual community partners. And we might, I think we're getting like the old days of literally doing these census parades where you're out there in your vehicles using a bullhorn in the languages on that. So there's a myriad of different things that Gladys Iola, my election commissioner, and my chief of staff, Tom Ash, who co-chair that. We're about, we got to pick up the pace. I think we're about 10% behind. The key here is obviously we usually run around 153 to 155 in population. We have to make sure we stay above the 150,000 mark, not only for funding aspects, especially CDBG, but congressional representation. If you remember, I think 10 years ago, we ended up losing a congressional seat. And the other thing too is a lot of time the college students, when they're here, their ad is listed here. So that's another thing that comes into play. But I feel confident that we will reach and attain that goal. And we're looking to continue to get the census, and there's some other things that we're looking to do too, but at the appropriate time I can let Gladys expound on that. So yeah, we're going to do everything we can to, sometimes you got to spend money to make money. In this case, that's certainly true. Any other questions or comments of my cabinet heads or department heads that are here? Myself? Okay, everybody, hey, thank you very, very much, and have a great, great Memorial Day. Don't forget our veterans and the ultimate sacrifices that they and their families have made and continue to do. And again, to the residents of the city of Springfield and the business community, thank you from the bottom of my heart. Your continued patience and understanding has been tremendous. You've been a fantastic partner in this. We are moving in the right direction. There is light at the end of the tunnel. We will defeat this COVID-19 and coronavirus. So stay strong, stay healthy. The other good news, too, is you can start going back to your houses of worship, whether it's church, mosque, synagogue, and I'm looking forward to get back to Mount Carmel, my parish, 4 o'clock Saturday masses, too. So we are Springfield strong. Thank you so much.